All hell is breaking loose as the Trump regime renewed military operations against Iran, striking hard on coastal cities in the Strait of Hormuz. Iran responded by attacking 85 sites linked to the United States military in Bahrain and in Kuwait. Massive Iranian ballistic missile strikes and drone strikes in Bahrain and Kuwait was taking place for many, many hours. Folks, the memorandum of understanding, which already was basically non-existent, has been torn to shreds. And earlier yesterday, as you know, the Trump regime revoked the general license for Iran to sell its crude outside of Iran, which again is a violation of the MOU. And Iran has vowed that they are going to continue to strike back with vengeance. And they have also threatened, although they haven't officially confirmed this, but there are some hardline voices saying fully shut down the Strait of Hormuz. Again, we'll wait to see this morning into this afternoon what is happening there. In the meantime, the funeral processions for Ayatollah Khamenei, it's now taking place in Iraq, and there are massive, massive crowds in Iraq, in the city of Najaf, filled with crowds of mourners. I'll get to that in a moment. Donald Trump is panicking. Donald Trump is posting boom. He's posting cartoon graphics of the word boom. And then someone says, I voted for this. You voted for boom? You voted for destroying the United States economy, causing inflation to surge, making sure people can't afford anything in the United States, can't afford rent, can't afford their mortgage, can't afford groceries. Gas prices are going to be rising again. And also, pay very close attention to what's going on right now in China, because China's working with its so-called teapot refineries in order to gobble up a lot of the demand of crude on the market, to also cause the prices to supply by taking the supply off the market and causing the prices to rise by taking the supply off the market. I'm paying attention to what China is doing right now, as well as Iran is shutting down the Oman lane and probably the Strait of Hormuz. So Donald Trump is also continuing to, while Donald Trump is in NATO, while Donald Trump has made this deranged decision with Rubio, with Besant, with Hegseth. By the way, where's J.D. Vance? Like, where is this guy? Where is JJ? Nowhere to be found. Donald Trump restarting war operations against Iran. He's just posting images of war right now on his social media platform. On Truth Social, Donald Trump is posting breaking massive strikes against Iran. Eyal Jacobi, he's reposting that. Then Donald Trump is posting these videos. And if you want to see the videos that he's posting, it's the United States striking coastal cities of Iran. You can hear little girls in the background screaming for their lives. I'll just play one of these clips right here. Let's play it.
خیلی وحشتناک بود. بندر عباس یا ابوالفضل دوباره جنگ شد.
I'll play you another clip just so you can hear what the United States strike sounded like. And then let's talk about the Iran response, because I did a video on the Trump strikes yesterday. Let's just play this other video. Let's play it.
Whoa.
Okay, the Iran response. I mean, we're seeing fast boats right now all over the Strait of Hormuz. I think likely laying out more mines in the Strait of Hormuz, with lots of fast boat activity, although Donald Trump claims, oh, the Iranian Navy doesn't exist. We're getting Warnings from the Ministry of Interior. From Bahrain, additional waves of Iranian strikes underway there. From Kuwait, you're getting these emergency air defense messages telling people to seek shelter as Iran launches multiple ballistic missiles and drones at U.S. force positions in Bahrain. Siren sounding in Manama. Iran launching missiles and drones at U.S. bases in Kuwait from multiple cities inside Iran. Sirens are currently sounding in Kuwait, with several explosions being reported there. Now, Iran's Revolutionary Guard said in their initial response to the U.S. strikes that they, being Iran, destroyed 85 important U.S. military installations in Port Salman in Bahrain, Bahrain's 5th Naval Region, and Kuwait's Ali Salam Air Base. And Iran is also saying that it shot down, I think they shot down 2, is what I'm hearing now, MQ-9 Reapers belonging to the United States that they say were attempting to interfere in the operation. The IRGC statement states, following the epic of the great Iranian nation in the unprecedented and glorious funeral of the only martyred leader of the era and the leader of the Islamic nation, the aggressive American regime whose dimensions of its defeat are becoming more apparent day by day and considers the global reflection of the huge and millions of proud Iraqi people in the wake of the history-making leader of the martyred Mujahideen a greater defeat for itself, once again repeated its habit of breaking the agreement in a panic in order to overshadow this historical event. The child-killing and terrorist American army openly violated the ceasefire and violated the Islamabad understanding by launching an airstrike on a number of coastal bases and civilian stations on the coast of Hormozgan and Mashhad provinces in the early hours of this morning. In the initial response to this aggression, the naval and aerospace forces of the IRGC, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, through joint missiles and drone operations, destroyed 85 important U.S. military installations in the region. And I also said a MQ-9 Reaper as well. Now, the IRGC spokesperson, he held a press conference where he said, urgent warning, Iran to neighboring countries. Restraint is over. We will target the infrastructure of the American Zionist enemy, the UAE, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Bahrain, Jordan, Qatar, and their partners in a way that will deprive America and its allies of the region's oil and gas for years. Consider this your warning. MB Ghalibaf, Iran's top civilian political leader in the system over there, who's also the lead negotiator for Iran, writes, major MOU violations by the U.S., violating Iranian adjustments in the Strait, persistent threats of further strikes, reinstating oil sanctions, attacks on southern Iran, continued Zionist aggression on Lebanon. The era of bullying and extortion is over. It leads nowhere. We don't fold. The Islamic Republic of Iran Broadcasting Network writes, after killing Manab's children, the U.S. is now taking revenge on their parents. They're reporting that several people were injured by shrapnel from a U.S. projectile at the commercial pier and taken to the Manab hospital. I showed you some of those clips of the U.S. strikes. The Iranian speedboats seem to also have been targeted by the United States. Here's another photo of Iran's Shahid Haghani port in Bandar Abbas ablaze after a series of U.S. airstrikes. Now, Trump regime officials told CNN and Axios that the point of striking Iran was for punishment, not for proportion. For punishment, they say. We needed to punish Iran. Well, Iran's IRGC responds and says, the armed forces of the Islamic Republic of Iran will deliver crushing responses to U.S. aggression and terrorist acts. Under no circumstance will we allow any interference in the affairs of the Strait of Hormuz or its management. It goes on to say, the armed forces of the Islamic Republic will give a crushing response. And then it reiterated that the only safe corridor for the passage of commercial vessels and oil tankers through the Strait of Hormuz is the route designated by the Islamic Republic of Iran. Meanwhile, you have Benjamin Netanyahu making his rounds on various right-wing networks in the United States, saying that, like Saddam Hussein, Iran has chemical weapons, and now we need to further invade Iran to stop their chemical weapons of mass destruction. What, you're literally doing the Saddam Hussein playbook again? Here, play this clip.
There's always a talk about the nuclear weapons. The thing that always frightens me and that nobody ever talks about, maybe this doesn't involve Iran or not, but it's biological and chemical weapons. Does Iran have biological and chemical weapons in their supply?
They definitely have chemical weapons. That I can tell you. And that is another danger that they pose.
Now here's some video footage of what it looks like this morning on the streets of Najaf in Iraq, filled with mortars for Ayatollah Khamenei and Ayatollah Khamenei's daughter Zahra and the whole family. Play this clip. Now, Marjorie Taylor Greene, who was once, you don't get much more high up in MAGA or closer to Donald Trump than Marjorie Taylor Greene. Here's what she just wrote. We are back to bombing Iran during the ceasefire for the Iran war. That is not a war, because Iran bombed a vessel for crossing the Strait of Hormuz they don't control, yet apparently control. Not sure how they bombed the vessel, because we have totally and completely obliterated their military and beat them in the war that is not a war like 40 times now. I'm so glad that Trump ran for president to end forever foreign wars. Otherwise, I might start thinking this war that is not a war that we won like 40 times is starting to turn into another forever foreign war in the Middle East. Good thing Pete Hegseth, Secretary of the Department of Defense, War, is headed to Israel to take orders from, ask for advice on how to totally wipe out Iran, bring peace. I'm totally sure no one in the executive branch or donors will do any sort of insider trading based on these super duper secret military decisions. You know, the kind based on intelligence that Congress is going to fuse with Israel's military after they all vote to pass the National Defense War Authorization Act, because this is exactly what we all get for when we said, make America great again. That's coming from Marjorie Taylor Greene, y'all. All right, that's what we're at right now. We'll keep you posted every step of the way as Iran continues to strike Bahrain and Kuwait, and I believe you'll have the Strait of Hormuz shut down pretty soon. I think the Trump regime will continue to escalate. Iran will continue to strike any ships that are going through the Oman route, which is what the Trump regime wants to open up, which they couldn't achieve during the war. So the Trump regime tried to use the Memorandum of Understanding to get ships through a route in Oman, to which Iran said, we're not going to let you do that. You could use the IRGC route, or we're going to hit the ships. Iran's hit about 5 ships in the past 48 hours. That's where we're at. That's where we're at. We'll keep you posted every step of the way. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers. Thanks for watching, everybody. Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.